Indeed, we sent Noah to his people, and he remained among them for 1,000 years, less 50. Then the flood overtook them, while they persisted in wrongdoing.
Indeed, we sent Noah to his people. He declared, "O my people, worship God alone. You have no God other than him. Will you not then fear him?" But the disbelieving chiefs of his people said to the masses, "This is only a human like you, who wants to be superior to you. Had Allah willed, he could have easily sent down angels instead. We have never heard of this in the history of our forefathers." They said for Noah, "He is simply insane, so bear with him for a while." "O Lord, I am defeated, help me," he begs. But he didn't leave based on this sentence. There was a tiredness of heart here. This expression would only be in the language of Prophet Noah in the Quran. He said, "I was defeated." Do you know what he was defeated by? He was defeated by those he had hoped for. This is the most painful destruction. Would you imagine hearing such a sentence from a prophet? Religion is for the poor who have nothing to do. They said, "What are high-level men like us doing next to you?" These behaviors increased the cruelty of the people. They threatened, "If you do not desist, O Noah, you will surely be stoned to death." Noah prayed, "My Lord, my people have truly rejected me. So judge between me and them decisively, and save me and the believers with me." So we saved him and those with him in the fully loaded ark. Then afterwards we drowned the rest. Surely, and this is a sign. Yet most of them would not believe. Surah Ash-Shu'ara 1:16, 121. God commanded Noah to build an ark to house and preserve his family, as well as every male and female species of land animal, from his punishment of a flood on the earth. Genesis 6:14-21. There was no water or sea in the region where Noah lived. Therefore, the unbelievers mocked him and laughed in his face because he built ships on land. Just as they do not accept that prophethood came to Prophet Noah from Allah, they could not understand that Allah had commanded him to build a ship, but Prophet Noah continued to build the ship with great patience. Finally, the construction of that great ship, which was built with a mastery that would not have been possible with the technology of that day, was completed. In the Bible, the shape of the ship is described as follows: "Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. Genesis 6:14-15. And then God commands, "And when our command came and the oven burst with water, one we said to Noah, Take into the ark a pair from every species along with your family, except those against whom the decree to drown has already been passed, and those who believe." But none believed with him except for a few. Surah Hud 40. According to the narration, when Noah was 480 years old, he received the order to build an ark, and after this order, the cedar trees from which the ark was to be built were planted and grew, and the ark was completed only after 120 years. As soon as the ship construction was completed, heavy rain started, and the waters were gradually rising. The rain fell, and the floodwaters rose around the ark for 40 days, however. Noah and the other inhabitants remained safe. Genesis 7:17-18. Prophet Noah knows what will happen to those who do not enter the ark and warns them one last time. While the waters were rising, the prophet Noah's son was still on the shore. Noah called him to faith for the last time and asked him to get on the ship. But his son rejected both faith and his father for the last time, saying, "I will hide on the side of a mountain, you go." Before he could finish his words, a wave took him away. Noah's pain was great. Noah was calling out to his Lord as follows: "My Lord, certainly my son is also of my family. Your promise is surely true, and you are the most just of all judges." God replied, "O Noah, he is certainly not of your family. He was entirely of unrighteous conduct. So do not ask me about what you have no knowledge of. I warn you so you do not fall into ignorance." Surah Hud 45:46. Those who disbelieved did not listen to Noah's last calls, even as the waters rose, and they drowned in the waters. Their arrogance would drive them crazy, just as it drove the devil out of heaven, and they would drown. Prophet Noah's ship was trying to move forward among giant waves. On the day of the flood, it was as if the sky was split open and the earth exploded. Spring waters were gushing from all over the ground. Water was raining from both the air and the ground, and the torment of which the unbelievers were asking, "Where is it?" had come. The waves were so big that they even exceeded the height of the mountains. These waters rose hundreds of meters and swallowed all the idols, temples, granaries, and houses of the nation of Noah, along with the unbelievers. The entire Tigris and Euphrates deltas were now underwater. Noah's ark was shaking like foam in the waters of the flood. Those on Noah's ship were not harmed by the flood. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. Genesis 7:24. The ark serves as a house and fortress for God's people as God floods the earth. Genesis 6:14-16. And Noah prayed, "My Lord, allow me a blessed landing, for you are the best accommodator." Here the following question comes to mind. Did the great flood cover the entire earth or a certain region? There are two narrations on this subject. Some scholars believe that the waters covered every part of the earth, but some sources believe that the flood only affected the region where Noah's people lived. Both are possible in the power of God. The end of the journey is described as follows, and it was said, "O earth, swallow up your water, and O sky, withhold your rain." The floodwater receded, and the decree was carried out. The ark rested on Mount Judy, and it was said, "Away with the wrongdoing people." Surah Hud 44. God blessed Noah and his sons and commanded them to multiply and fill the earth, and told them that everything was at their disposal and that they could eat any animal that moved. In return, he asks them not to eat bloody meat and not to shed human blood, and makes a covenant. According to this covenant made between God and all human beings through Noah, if people obey the rules that God has declared, a calamity such as the flood will never occur again, and the sign of this covenant will be the rainbow. Genesis 8:13-9-17. According to the Torah, Noah got off the ark and started farming, planted vineyards, and grew grapes. Noah lived for another 350 years after the flood and died at the age of 950, Tequin 5:131. In Jewish and Christian religious literature, Noah is presented as a righteous and faithful person, Genesis Rabbah 30:77. Among his beneficial deeds are his giving people tools such as the plow, sickle, axe, etc., his calling people to repentance, and his kind treatment of animals. In Islam, the prophet Noah is one of the 5 great prophets, who is described in the Quran and hadiths more extensively than the other prophets and is called Ulul Azm. Fossils of marine animals found on the tops of the highest mountains are also cited as evidence that the flood happened. Those who did not believe in Noah were lost with their disbelief, sins, and arrogance. Everyone made their choice with their free will and completed the test. We also make our choices with our free will. Some of us follow the path of prophets, and some of us turn to other paths. Some of us learn from the story of Noah. Some of us say, it's just an event that happened and ended. One way or another, our test on this world ship floating in the sea of space will end one day. The real question is, Will we be among the losers, like those who drown in water, or will we be on the side of prophets, like those who believed in Prophet Noah? Isn't it time to put our heads in our hands and think and reflect on how our lives have passed?